The NHL is horrified of what the Boston Bruins just did as they get another crazy win with some ups and downs that we're going to be talking about here in this video. But with the recent success from this team, what we've just seen from them against not just the Canadiens, but games before as well, the NHL do not want to see the Boston Bruins, and we have a lot to discuss here in this video. Before we do jump into it though, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button. Join me here on the channel. It is 100% free, and you want to stay up to date with all of your Boston Bruins news, with everything that we have coming out here on the channel. But let's get straight into this, and there's a lot to go over here. Of course, Charlie McAvoy, we do have an update on him, what his status is, Victor Arvidsson as well, and a few other things which have led the Bruins to get to this point, as well as a few names down in the AHL who were missing from today's practice. There's a lot, but starting off with the stat card from last game, the Boston Bruins certainly have some things to take a look at, because when you look at the game, obviously, your top guys, still over here at the top of this list. Players that you've entrusted to be an important part of this team. They've done so, resulting in how this Bruins team is first in the Atlantic. Now, you look at Tanner Jeannot, you look at Mark Kastelic down at the bottom. I really don't think that was too much of a big deal here in this game. Sean Kuraly should not be there. 7 minutes on the penalty kill he had yesterday, and that really put him up as, well, I would say, one of the top on this list from yesterday's game. And having Sean Kuraly be one of these guys who is almost leading the power play or the penalty kill, on this team, has been just one factor where we've been able to see this Bruins team in every point on the ice show that they deserve to be in first place. And it goes through everybody in the lineup, but that was just one example here from this game, as well as, Mason Lohrei being back from his multi-game healthy scratch, Marat Huznatinov getting another goal, having a guy like Pavel Zacha, who is just continuing to play at an incredible offensive level, and if he can just find the back of the net a little bit more, you're seeing an even better team than what the Boston Bruins currently possess. But of this game, there was a lot of stuff as well that really caused a bit of concern for what is going to happen with the Bruins going at least over the next couple of games. And I feel like the big one here is Charlie McAvoy. He did travel home with the Bruins last night per Friedman, and after taking a slapper to the jaw, hoping for the best for him. And of course, that comes from Joe Haggerty. Everybody's thoughts are kind of in that exact same boat. Hopefully, it is minor. There have been some reports about some, Twitter doctors, I guess we could say, although they are actually doctors tweeting it out, that there is a chance that he could be back next game, and it depends on the structure of the jaw. So, although it does definitely suck, hopefully it is just the teeth that he lost. Hopefully it will just be a bruise. And we know Charlie McAvoy. He's going to try to be back at any point possible. Guy's an animal, guy's a dog, and he'll be back in this lineup as soon as he can. And hopefully everything is okay with that very scary incident last night. But Charlie McAvoy still attempted to block that shot, which is an absolute, dog play of him, as this team has been really important in doing here in this season. So that is the update on him, with another one coming from Victor Arvidsson from Marco Sturm about Victor Arvidsson. He's going to be out. Lower body. I don't know how long. I suppose we're going to have to wait and see. Now, this is something that we need to really take a close look at. Not just Victor Arvidsson, not just Charlie McAvoy, but what the plan will be going forward for this Bruins team with that moves coming from the AHL. Because if there is a game where Charlie McAvoy will be out, and it wouldn't surprise me if that is the case, even if it's just 1 to 2 games, I think it's a fair statement to say that he will be out for at least a little bit. Same with Victor Arvidsson now. And one set of moves that haven't made in the AHL seems like it could be on the horizon for the Boston Bruins. And Mark Divver tweeted this out today, this morning, and with an update here from this afternoon. Riley Tufte and Matej Blumel missing from the Providence Bruins lineup this afternoon. both have played well enough to warrant a call-up, and if that's what's in the cards here, in 13 games, Tufte has 16 points, and Blumel has 13. So these guys are ready. And, Matej Blumel, a guy that I was very hesitant of sending down because he had to go through waivers, he's someone that right now I think deserves that call-up, as well as Riley Tufte. We saw Tufte last season a little bit and showed that he still needed a little bit more time, but has shown that improvement in the AHL. And although Matej Blumel's goal scoring hasn't been exactly what it has been and what we've hoped to be in the NHL, this could be a very different scenario where he turns from that playmaker to a goal scorer. So I think right now, these are two candidates to jump into the Bruins lineup come next game, albeit taking this with not a grain of salt necessarily, but we still just don't know yet who will be out of the lineup, if anybody, for how long, and what the Bruins are going to do on the defensive side of things as well, with both of these guys being forwards, and of course, still a lot of injuries that we're dealing with, and the fact that this Bruins team is still in first place, I think is something that is pretty good to see coming out of this after, an interesting stretch of games where you're seeing this team have everybody show up, and that's resulting in this team being in first place, The only thing is, the Bruins trying to continue to get better and better and better and also stay in the win column is why I think it's a very important part of this team where they're looking to call up their best players even in a rebuild. And if the Bruins at this point right now continue to go about this, they are 2 games played above some teams, 3 against Tampa, and 1 over some teams like the Maple Leafs and Senators. They're at the top here, and if they can remain remain at the top, even when you're looking at the points being split across the Atlantic Division by only 8 points, it could be a very quick switch if the Bruins do lose a few games, where you could see them at the bottom of this. So the way that Marco Sturm, his mindset has gone along with this team, with Charlie McAvoy being out, and now Victor Arvidsson as well, with Casey Middlestat being one, there's a lot of things that we're going to see move across this team, with Charlie McAvoy taking that puck to the jaw. I'm not really in an ideal situation, but I do have another update here, and I feel like this is more something that we've been noticing over the past couple of games, and that's Jeremy Swayman. He has taken what is like a very big step up from not just last season, but also earlier in this year, and the first few games wasn't necessarily the greatest. We saw him, Korpisalo, really split some time earlier on now, and Jeremy Swayman, and even with Korpisalo, still both getting better. And the stats not looking, I would say, necessarily the greatest from a goaltender. He has been a big reason as to why the Bruins are winning these games. An 8-4 record through 12 games, he's been someone that is important to where this team is, and his clutch saves, Korpisalo's clutch saves, the stats may not necessarily be the best among the NHL, but they have shown that they are, a major part of this Bruins team, at least even remaining close to a playoff spot, let alone being first in the Atlantic. And how these guys' performance is kind of improving, I should say, it is good, and it is a very important thing, because with this team continuing to get better, these goalies are as well. If they're getting the help, they know that they do their job, the team does their job, they're winning games. They can't go ahead and change that, and the Bruins being one team in the NHL, or one of the very small amount of teams in the NHL that have not lost in overtime this year, I think it goes to show how good this team is throughout many different specific scenarios. And for a guy who was, on the hot seat, not necessarily, but figuratively on the hot seat when it came down to last season into this year, he's had a very good bounce back, and I think that's a big part of why we're seeing this Bruins team have the success, and no team in the NHL wanting to play against them. So let me know, first of all, what you think about this game from yesterday, how this Bruins team is really attacking some of the best teams across the NHL, but also let me know what you think the Bruins should do when it does come down to the absence of Charlie McAvoy and Victor Arvidsson, at least over the coming days, and what moves they should make from Providence. So put that in the comments below, but that's all I got here in this one. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.